It's been a while since I've spoken online, but I just had some things I would like to cover with you today that I think will help you. I know it helps me when I think about it a whole lot. And I guess what I want to talk about is a thing called value. I hold in my hand here just a piece of paper, man. It's just a, for $3.50 you can buy 500 of them in one package, all neatly wrapped up. But now, it's not worth an awful lot of money as a white piece of paper unless you need to make a note or whatever. But you take this same piece of paper and you draw an arrow on it, right? It's still not worth much, is it? No, it's still not worth much. It's worth the piece of paper plus the ink that it took to draw the arrow on there. But my point is this. If you're having a garage sale at your house and you got a bunch of fine stuff for sale and you've advertised that sale and you expect a lot of people and you want to tell those people how to get to your place where you're having your garage sale or whatever you want to call it sale, this arrow comes mighty handy, doesn't it? In fact, you may need several of these arrows. You may need to put some to get right to your house where you know where the people will know where the sale's going to be. Well, now, a case like that, you'd probably pay $2-3, for one of these signs. Maybe more than that if you didn't have to fool with making them. Right? So, but now they have a value, don't they? Okay. Well, our lives, mine and yours as well, all have something in common. And that's the fact that when we were born in sin. We can't help that. Adam and Eve took care of that for us in the early beginning. And God put a type curse on mankind. Not like he did the devil, but on mankind. The devil is condemned to die, for sure, for eternal death, but not us. Jesus gave us hope through him coming to earth living as a man, and he paid the price for mine and your debts, as well as all of our sins. He covered all of our sins with his death on the cross. His death was not where it ended, however. If he just came and died and stayed in the grave, right, then that proved nothing, did it? That's what everybody does, but not Jesus. He arose on the third day, and incidentally, when he arose and he left the tomb, he left the cloth that was over his face. He took time to wrap that cloth up and let in an orderly manner there on the slab of where he was laying. He did that. I believe the reason he did that was to let people know that if somebody stole his body, they would not take time to wrap that shroud. So the bottom line is when he was raised from the dead, that proved that he was God. He was now God. Well, but he walked about 40 days on the earth, and he talked to about some 600 people, making contact, and he walked again as a man, although he was a spirit. He had the nail-scarred hands. He had the feet where feet was nailed. He had the stripes, just as he had before he was hung on a cross. And so anyhow, he did that so we would have a way to that great garage sale in the sky, if you may, or heaven. Okay, and when we die, this body dies on earth. It's not dead. It don't quit. It just goes to a different place. And there's only two places and two choices. One's heaven, one's hell. And I don't like preaching on hell, or I hate to say that because it's just awful, and there's no way to explain how bad it is. There's just no way. And the judgment, the 7-year judgment, is going to be a tea time compared to what hell is going to be like. And you don't want to make that if you can keep from it. And of course, there is a way. We won't get into that today, but there is a way to escape that. But folks, what happened since to know where the garage sale is, we've got a way of knowing our arrow, if you may, and this is it right here. This tells it all. It starts with beginning. This is a book of stories, but they're true stories. It's also a book of prophecies, if you may. It's about a third of this book is prophecies. And it starts in the Old Testament about Jesus. It didn't start in Matthew. It started over in Genesis is where it started. Folks, be encouraged. There is hope, and there is a way for salvation and to live forever in glory and not in hell. And that's the point I'm trying to make. If I have a website, storiesandphotos.com. I have a lot of videos I do and I play around with here. I've written a couple of books that's pretty entertaining, but also it describes what a life living without this book, what it leaves you. I was born again when I was young, but man, when I got grown, I got away from this book. I quit reading it. I quit looking at it. And then after everything went to hell, if you may, in a handbasket, including the family, and business and everything else you can think of, and me running from God as fast and hard as I could once He called me into the ministry, this will give you, those books are an example of that. They're pretty interesting. I tried to put humor in there because it's that way. You know, even when you discipline your kids, there's humor involved in some of that, and that's the way it was with me. In fact, my life has been, I hate to say it, but it's been one big joke until I got serious about God. But I'm supposed to have been doing this, my friends, all my life. I didn't do it. But I tell you what, if I take my last breath, as long as words can come across my lips, I'm going to be trying my best to tell people about Jesus Christ. And whether we realize it or not, we're all supposed to be doing that. We're not all called to be preachers, and I'm not. I'm not a pulpit preacher. I would have if I had my life to live over again. I feel certain that I would. But I missed that boat, and all I can do is to make up with what I've got left. And God's given me the talent, and I'm going to use it. Storiesandphotos.com. You can see those books there. Incidentally, I'm not trying to rob you for money, but it sure would help ease the pain trying to, the expenses of producing these videos and so forth. I do them, but it takes software and it has to be updated and upgraded. It's expensive. If you can, if you'll buy the books, man, it certainly would help us. I also edit videos. If you have a video like a vacation and you've got several pictures, and you'd like a video made of it, I can make it really interesting for you and entertaining. And you can reach me at on my website. And also you can send me a message on there.